Yeah, or like, for example, when she was interviewing Rabia, like when you could hear her opening the door and going in, I was like, that just upgrades the feel and like the auditory experience of your podcast.
Yeah, and then going back to that same scene, I also think that it was really cool because she was going through and describing what she saw in the room with all the boxes and the different types of paper and stuff. Like, I thought that that was also really great because then you get like your own like visual image in your mind.
Yeah, I think it's a way more personal experience than if you were reading like on CBC. Oh, like, you know, the murder of Hay by her boyfriend Adnan. Like, you really get the experience, and I feel like listeners can connect way more. And I really liked how, like, her format of like what we can consider investigative journalism. It was so like it captured the listener.
Mm-hmm.
Like you were with her, you were listening to the interviews, you were thinking about your own memories, and this is what I was talking about. I was thinking about earlier. It's like anybody can listen to this at any time. Like you can find this podcast on the website, on the Apple Podcasts, on Spotify Podcasts, and you can listen like wherever and whenever.
Like, so, do you think that the podcast is then a more beneficial way to present information when it's something like this?
I mean, it depends, right? For most other teens, I think if you wanted to learn about this case, you'd probably choose a podcast. I really like reading, like, cases because I get to, like, directly gather information and, like, analyze it and, like, highlight and make notes directly on the case, like, on the written text. But, I mean, I'm just a 17-year-old. I don't want to be doing that all the time. If I'm interested in a case, having this option is, like, really beneficial because I have other things to do, like clean the house or, you know, write an essay, and I can listen to this in the background and gain that information. I mean, what would you say?
I definitely agree with that. When it comes to something like this, I find reading boring. Like, I don't think I would be able to sit there and read this whole podcast transcript because there's just so much information being thrown at you the entire time if you're reading it. But then if you're listening to it, you can do it while doing other things. So that it's just like, first of all, it's less stimulating to your brain if you're doing other things while listening, and you're still getting the same out of it. But when it comes to something like this, I would definitely choose a podcast over reading. I couldn't stand to read that.